A Brief History of the Vampires. Blood Genesis. In the beginning were the spirits. They were invisible beings, heard and seen only by the most powerful sorcerers or witches. Some were thought to be malevolent. Some were praised as good. They could find lost objects, spy upon enemies, and now and then affect the weather. Two great witches, Makari and Maharet, lived in a beautiful valley on the side of Mount Carmel, and they communed with the spirits. One of these spirits, the great and powerful Armel, could, in his mischief-making, take blood from human beings. Tiny bits of blood entered the alchemical mystery of the spirit, though how, no one knew. But Armel loved the witch Makari, and was ever eager to serve her. She saw him as no other witch ever had, and he loved her for it. One day the troops of an enemy came, soldiers of the powerful Queen Akasha of Egypt. She wanted the witches. She wanted their knowledge, their secrets. This wicked monarch destroyed the valley and the villages of Makari and Maharet, and brought the sisters by force to her own kingdom. Armel, the furious, familiar spirit of the witch Makari, sought to punish the queen. When she lay dying, stabbed over and over by conspirators of her own court, this spirit Armel entered into her, fusing with her body and her blood and giving her a new and terrifying vitality. This fusion caused a new entity to be born into the world, the vampire, the blood drinker. From the blood of this great vampire queen, Akasha, all the other vampires of the whole world were born over the millennia. A blood exchange was the means of procreation. To punish the twins who stood opposed to her and her new power, Akasha blinded Maharet and tore the tongue from Makari. But before they could be executed, the steward of the queen, Cayman, a newly made blood drinker himself, passed on to the twins the powerful blood. Cayman and the twins led a rebellion against Akasha, but they could not stop her cult of blood drinker gods. Eventually the twins were captured and separated, sent out as castaways, Maharet into the Red Sea, and Makari into the great ocean to the west. Maharet soon found familiar shores and thrived, but Makari, carried across the ocean to lands yet undiscovered and unnamed, vanished from history. This was 6,000 years ago. The great Queen Akasha and her husband, King Enkil, went mute after 2,000 years, maintained like statues in a shrine by elders and priests that believed Akasha contained the sacred core, and that if she should be destroyed, all the blood drinkers of the world would die with her. But by the time of the Common Era, the story of the blood genesis was completely forgotten. Only a few elder immortals passed on the tale, though they did not believe it even as they told it. Yet blood gods, vampires, dedicated to the old religion, still reigned in shrines throughout the world. Imprisoned in hollowed-out trees or brick cells, these blood gods starved for blood until the holy feasts at which they were brought offerings, evildoers to judge and condemn and feast upon. At the dawn of the Common Era, an elder, a keeper of the divine parents, abandoned Akasha and Enkil in the desert for the sun to destroy them. All over the world young blood drinkers perished, burnt to death in their coffins, their shrines, or in their tracks as the sun shone on the mother and father. But the mother and father themselves were too strong to perish, and many of the very old ones survived as well, though badly burned and in pain. A newly made blood drinker, a wise Roman scholar by the name of Marius, went down to Egypt to find the king and queen and protect them so that no Holocaust would ever again ravage the world of the undead. And thereafter, Marius made them his sacred responsibility. The legend of Marius and those who must be kept endured for almost 2 millennia. In the year 1985, the story of this blood genesis was told to all the world's undead. That the queen lived, that she contained the sacred core, this was part of the story. It appeared in a book written by the vampire Lestat, who also told the tale in song and dance, in film and from the stage, where he performed as a rock singer, calling the world to know and destroy his own kind. Lestat's voice waked the queen from millennia of silence and slumber. She rose with a dream that she would dominate the world of human beings through cruelty and slaughter and become for them the Queen of Heaven. But the ancient twins came forward to stop Akasha. They too had heard Lestat's songs. Maharit appealed to the queen to stop her superstitious blood tyranny, and the long-lost Makari, rising from the earth after untold eons, decapitated the great queen, and took the sacred core into herself as she devoured the dying queen's brain. Makari, under the protection of her sister, became the new Queen of the Damned. Lestat once again wrote the story. He had been there. He had seen the passing of the power with his own eyes. He gave his testimony to everyone. The mortal world took no notice of his fictions, but his tales shocked the undead. And so the story of origins and ancient battles, of vampire powers and vampire weaknesses, and wars for control of the dark blood became the common knowledge of the undead tribe the world over. It became the property of old ones who'd been comatose for centuries in caves or graves, of young ones misbegotten in jungles or swamps or urban slums who had never dreamed of their antecedents. It became the property of wise and secretive survivors who had lived in isolation through the ages. It became the legacy of all blood drinkers the world over to know they shared a common bond, a common history, a common root. Prince Lestat is the story of how that knowledge changed the tribe and its destiny forever. Brought together by a crisis, the tribe unites, begging Lestat to become its leader. Prince Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis explores the history of the vampires ever more deeply, as the tribe, governed by Lestat, confronts the worst challenges it has ever faced.